What's going on, guys, and welcome on in. Yes, today Car has glasses on, but that's besides the point. Guilty Gear is around the corner, so it's time for our priority summon breakdown for all the Guilty Gear units. Some quick info, guys, real fast. Soul will be available. Soul and Junkyard Dog will be daily login rewards, and the other three ladies at the table here, Elfelt, Baiken, and Dizzy, will all be in a group banner. So those are the new kind of things that they're incorporating in exchange compared to last event. We're going to go through every single hero, guys, and at the end, I'll go ahead and rank them in terms of which hero and artifacts I think you guys should prioritize in case you can't pull them all. Remember, they are limited, so if you can possibly get all of them, he will be free. The rest you will have to get with bookmarks, okay? Anyways, let's get on with the video. First up, let's talk about Dizzy. Now, as you can see here, guys, Dizzy, I do have my Dizzy ungeared. She is still very, very good PvP and PvE, but she has similar gear requirements to Archie and Mercedes. And if you've been by any of my live streams, which you should stop by, I use Meru way more often. But if you do have some counter gear or just some fast effectiveness gear, Dizzy can work extremely well for RTA. A little bit seen less nowadays, but still very good as a last counter pick. And then for Guild Wars and Arena, as we all know, she can be absolutely devastating, especially versus fire units. Now, let's go ahead and talk about just her pros and cons. Pros, very strong, very unique kit, super debuffs, 3-turn debuffs, which is very important versus things like the new designer a little bit. But in terms of new game potential, what does she do for you? Well, Abyss, guys, the early and even later Abyss floors I've discovered from some of my viewers, especially the early Abyss floors, though, you will usually steamroll up to 50, 60, 70. Then once you start getting to 80 and 90, things get very difficult. Dizzy can make most of those floors an absolute breeze. There's a lot of just difficult floors that Dizzy kind of makes. She eases the requirements, the gearing requirements, because of her debuffs, CR pushback. She's so good, guys. If you want PvE help, especially for Abyss, you definitely need to pick her up. Let's move on. I mean, things like raid as well, but let's move on to PvP aspects. I kind of briefly mentioned it, but Arena, Guild Wars, and even some RTA potential. She's amazing debuffer. If your opponent isn't prepared, she will completely take over a match. She is a mage as well, so she's powerful. She has access to all the powerful artifacts like Crown, Violin, and speaking of, let me go ahead and now talk about her artifact. We'll go ahead and combine the heroes and the artifacts together. I believe it is called Necro and Undine. Let me see if I can find it real fast. Right here. Necro and Undine, guys. I'll be honest with you, I still don't have it, but I know a lot of people that kind of theory crafted with it, that like to have fun out of the box. It can be a very cool artifact, but guys, I just mentioned mage artifacts are so stacked that most players just don't even use this, even on Dizzy. Maybe there's some potential outside of that, but if you do have limited resources, limited bookmarks, I think this is an easy skip. I still don't have it, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm going to skip it again come this next GG collab. Guys, super quick announcement. This video is sponsored by Lootcakes, and they're doing a $50 giveaway for you guys watching. Let me tell you all about it right now. What is Lootcakes, you might be asking? Guys, anytime you spend on E7, if you do spend on E7, you know, you'll get an email receipt after you make your purchase saying, thank you, you spent this much on this day. Well, Lootcakes can automatically, if you sign in with your email, check those receipts for you and turn them into points, which you can then redeem for gift cards from iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, and more. Now, why would they want to do that, you might ask? Well, information is very valuable. And so Lootcakes is going to take that, you know, your spending habits, what you bought, what works, what doesn't, and then, you know, forward it to these game developers to sort of, you know, improve the shops that are in these types of games. As you can see down here, I think I've spent on Arknights, Epic 7 Genshin, Guardian Tales, and Hero Qatar, just to name a few. So purchases made from free-to-play games on iTunes, Google, and Steam, like the ones you see below, they are all eligible for rewards. Right now, guys, Lootcakes is US only, so I apologize to my EU, Asia, anywhere outside of the US. Lootcakes has confirmed, though, that they are working on adding more countries. But let's get back to what really matters, guys. That juicy $50 giveaway I mentioned. Lootcakes is giving you guys, the viewers, a chance to win a $50 gift card if you sign up by April 15th using my invite link, which I'm going to put in the description below. Guys, you want to be signed up anyways, so we can all start earning on our receipts that were just sitting there. Let's all earn together. But if you do sign up by April 15th using a Gmail account, it does have to be Gmail for now, guys. You can be entered into that raffle, so make sure you get in there, make sure you invite or take the invite link and sign up right now. And one last thing to all my free-to-play players out there, you guys can also take advantage of Lootcakes. One, get in that aforementioned raffle giveaway, and two, come join on this alliance I just made called Lootcakes on Epic 7. Even if you're free to play, light spender, whatever it is, if you join my alliance, anytime I spend and anyone else in the alliance that we invite later down the line, we'll all get points together. So maybe I'll invite some whale friends. If you guys are whales, light spenders, free to play, come join me regardless. I want you in here because I think we can all take advantage and, you know, start earning from Lootcakes. So big shout out to them for sponsoring this video once again. And thank you guys for being cool with this. With that being said, let's get back to the video. All right, guys, we'll just move down the table. Next up, we have Baiken. Baiken's an interesting one. She does have some PvP potential, but let's go ahead and start with the PvE side of things. Pros and cons for Baiken. Well, as most of y'all might know by now, she's the absolute best Banshee one-shotter. Best is relative, but what I mean by best is she's the easiest to gear, requires the least amount of Molagora. I did go ahead and Mola like extensively in S2 and S3, but you can get away with much less. She doesn't even need effectiveness. The bleeds don't matter. You want to actually one-shot the Banshee without bleeds, and an easy thing is if you get some rage set lying around, go ahead and stack that on her, but it's not a requirement. It just kind of helps. Outside of Banshee though, guys, she does have some potential in the water expedition when it comes around. T3, she's very, very good there. And then you could just use her, I guess, as a DPSer when there's no fire units. However, for PvP, I have seen her used to some extent. She's definitely not a meta unit by any means. Not saying she's bad, but she is much harder to run. She can be an amazing CR pusher while also having some good high speed damage. She's going to be very hard to use in that regard though. So if you're a newer type player, don't expect her to be amazing in PvP until you really devote to her. But she does have a lot of PvE potential. One more time, Banshee 13, one of the best one-shotters for that. And you kind of do want to be one-shotting, guys. It's not a requirement. You can just do the slow Banshee. Let's say you can't pull Baiken, and I'll rank her on the list later. But if you can't pull Baiken, no worries. But if you do plan to get a lot of counter gear, one-shotting the Banshee is just the quickest and easiest way to get gear. And also a little bit of, she's very good in water expedition too, but that rotates out, so that's more of a less secondary concern. Let's go ahead and talk about her artifact real quick, guys. And I believe this one is called Torn Sleeve. Yes, I think the one she comes with is Torn Sleeve. Let's see if we can find it real fast, like we found Necro and Undine. So Torn Sleeve right here. As you can see, I don't have this one either, guys. Now this one's a little bit different than Necro and Undine though. I will say this one is much better, especially for Wyvern 13. Guys, if you use like a Karen in Wyvern 13, you really like Karen or thieves that can give extra debuffs, you want to pick this up. Now, here's the reason I don't have it, and those of you watching that are free to play especially and already using Terranor Guard, you can skip this, okay? Because Terranor Guard and Junkyard Dog will be given for free like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. That is a burn artifact. It's not as reliable, but it works. I promise. I've used it together with Terranor Guard. I just dropped it recently for more damage because I can manage debuffs pretty well, but that's a free-to-play alternative where you don't need molas and you don't need a 5-star artifact. However, like I said, if you do like using Karen or another thief and you want to stack extra bleeds for Wyvern, go ahead and use that just for Wyvern 13. Outside of that, I don't think it has too much use. There's just better thief artifacts. But one more time, if you need extra debuffs for Wyvern 13 on a thief, you can pick this up. In my opinion, though, if you're very, very low on bookmarks, just go ahead and skip this in exchange for Terranor Guard plus Junkyard Dog or another warrior, okay? Okay, guys, moving along, we got Elfelt. Now, I mentioned also that the soul in Elfelt will be getting buffed. Go ahead and check out those patch notes, guys. I'll just say here, though, my quick thoughts. I think she's going to be much, much, much better, just overall. However, unless you're that kind of speedy cleave style player, I'm not sure how much potential she'll have as a bruiser. So keep that in mind, guys. The playstyle is very important, and I do think it'll be mostly late game PvP. I still don't see too much PvE potential. I know there's probably some spots you can use her, but I haven't seen too much PvE potential compared to units like Dizzy and Baiken. But maybe there's something. If you do know, leave any info in the comments below for me, guys. I'd love to know if she's usable in PvE. But other than that, like I said, she's much, much better nowadays. She was kind of seen as one of the weakest limiteds. Now she's getting significant buffs. I think she'll be kind of crazy if you're that speed cleaver style player. But overall, I think that's a late game thing. Do pick her up if you can. She is a limited unit and she's getting buffed. But if you are a slower type player or don't value PvP too much in the beginning, maybe prioritize some of the other units instead. Now, that being said, let me talk about her artifact. And this one I want to make quick note of. Unlike Elfelt, though, this artifact I think is good for every player. And I think everyone should pick this up for both PvE and PvE. say PV twice, PvP and PvE, excuse me. Miss Confile, guys. Miss Confile. This artifact, guys, is absolutely insane. It is busted. I have one. I want to get a max limit break one, so I'll be picking one up via powder and possibly the pity bookmarks if the group banner is exactly the same as our previous limited one. Why is this crazy? Well, no other artifact really. I'm not sure if there's any period, but this one gives a dual attack at a very high percentage chance. If you combine this with a unit like Cerise, guys, not only is it insane for PvP, right? Cerise dual attack, you defense break something, she leads into a high damage unit, and you can just sometimes one-shot stuff straight out. On top of that, guys, PvE potential too. I mentioned Banshee 13 earlier. Banshee 13, you can slap this on any of your rangers. Let's say you're using a Leo to set up a defense break. He has an extra chance, and if you didn't know, the one-shot Banshee only fails 85% or 15% of the time, 85% success rate. This kind of evens that out, gives you another chance at defense breaking, because if you don't land that defense break, the Banshee lives, and it's just annoying. But PvP, PvE, super good, guys. Landing defense break, especially on a dual attack unit or a fast unit, just anyone. Ranger artifacts also aren't super stacked besides, you know, like the guiding light recently. So this can be used on a lot of different units, and the fact that it's so versatile and very unique, I think everyone needs to pick up at least one, okay? I'll rank it later, but keep in mind this is one of the highest priority items of the Guilty Gear collab. Last but not least, guys, we have Soul, and there's not really too much to talk about there. He's going to be for free. Junkyard Dog will be for free, but I do want to mention a few things along with those. Make sure you get them from logins, guys, and if you are using Junkyard Dog, you know, slap that on a Eternal Guard, etc. for your Wyvern 13 needs instead of Torn Sleeve, for example. But there's one more artifact that we need to talk about real quick, and I need to give some info on it. Where is it? Let's see, I think I didn't type it correctly. Portrait of the Saviors. It's a 4-star artifact, guys. I'm sure you've seen it around. It is limited, and it is straight up just better than Tonfa's. Executioner's Tonfa. This does 20% damage, and last GG run, a lot of players, myself included, grabbed 5 max limit break copies. What is that? 30 total plus copies of Portrait of the Saviors. I don't think you need that many. I found that I really only at most use 3 at a time, and now with Symbol of Unity, I could see myself dropping to 2 max limit break at a time. But if this is available to be farmed again, and I'm not sure it will be, guys, so I don't want to get your hopefully expectations too high. Just be happy that you know, we're getting a Guilty Gear run, period, because there was a lot of I didn't think they were going to bring it back at all. So don't get too sad if this doesn't come back. We have Symbol of Unity now. You can't just use Executioner's Tonfa. But if it does come back, guys, and you can farm as many copies as you have energy, keep in mind, I would suggest grabbing at least 2 to 3 max limit break copies. That means 12 to 18 Portraits of the Savior. It's just such a versatile artifact. It's universal, meaning there's no class restrictions, and it just straight up gives damage higher than 50%. So especially when you're newer and you don't have access to all the artifacts, if you just have a damage unit, a lot of times you just get a ton of value out of this. So if they do allow you to farm it, which I'm not sure, we'll find out soon, make sure you grab more than 1 copy, okay? Alright guys, let's go ahead and rank them real fast. Last thing, we'll wrap up quickly. I'm going to go ahead and rank it in this order, okay? Even with the Elfelt buff, guys, I think Dizzy will be our #1 unit you grab. After that, we have not a unit, but Miss Confile. I think Dizzy and Miss Confile should be your 2 highest priority. I still think a hero is better overall, though, so I'll put Dizzy #1, Miss Confile #2. After that, I think I will put Elfelt as #3, just because her buffs are so crazy. I think she will have, if you like PvP, more overall impact to the game than Baiken, who has a lot of alternatives. She's the premier Banshee cleaver, or Banshee one-shotter, but I think Elfelt might be a little bit more impactful. But Elfelt and Baiken are close, but let's go ahead and put Elfelt #3, Baiken #4, and then Necro and Undine and Torn Sleeve. Those are kind of just, if you really like them. Torn Sleeve we'll put after, and then Necro and Undine dead last. Soul is free. Make sure you grab him. His buffs are super crazy too, guys, but since he's free, we don't need to talk about him. So there's the list. Let me know if you have any other questions, guys, any other comments. Hopefully you guys enjoy these types of videos. And yeah, thank you so much for watching as always. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace out, guys.